know you have a business when you can leave, walk away, and the thing still runs, right? It doesn't skip a beat. You can take a vacation, maybe it's a couple weeks, maybe it's a month. And even when you're gone, sometimes when you come back, things might even be better. Not because you left, but because your business is a true business, and it's just natural for it to grow because that's the business in which you've created. You designed it that way. Now, I talk to a lot of gym owners, and when I'm having these conversations, a lot of times we're talking about software, right? And that software conversation evolves into really how are they running their business? What are the things that they have in place to run their business? What are the systems that they have in place, and who are they hiring? Who do they have to help them? Otherwise, most of the gym owners that I'm talking with get stuck in the rut. They get stuck in the same position that they once didn't want to be in and now they're in, which is having multiple jobs. Right? And it's okay to have these things, especially in the beginning when you're growing, but to still be the janitor even after 17 years or 10 years or 5 years or really even 1 year of owning your business, and you're still operating your business the same way, something has to change. And you've probably heard this before. If things are still operating the same way, you're not seeing growth, something has to change. Right? And a lot of people will come back and say, well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, that applies in some scenarios, but not in all. So I have these conversations, and I recognize, and I think they recognize too, that they have to have systems in place. And a lot of times those things just are not a natural thing that you kind of think about. Some people are not system oriented, where they think through the process and they have this mapped out in their mind. So that way they can set things up so it works the way they want it to work. And that was really how BUZOPS started, because I had systems in place and then I didn't have software to connect those systems to. And I even remember in the very early days, I was growing so fast with our business, and I was trying to figure out a way to onboard new employees and train our staff a little faster. And this was before some of the other tools out there existed. So we hired a video person who came in. I mean, this guy was a crew member from actual videos where they would record movies, and he would record us of everything that we did. And then we took that video and then we used that, we cut it up and used it for training tools every single time someone was onboarded. And I took from a gentleman by the name of Dan Martell. You might find him online. I think he's another great person to follow, but he calls them playbooks. And he does this for every single one of his employees as he's developing his business. He creates a playbook. So we're going to talk about a few things, but more importantly, I want to give you 2 actionable steps that you can take today that's actually going to help improve the way that you operate your business. So listen in, pay close attention, and take some notes if you need to. In addition, in the show notes, I'll put some things in there that you can actually pull from. You can swipe some of these things that I even used today with some of the gym owners, and they see increases in revenue right away just by implementing a few things like a reactivation campaign. First thing I want to talk about is your CRM. Okay. So if you don't follow a process within your business where somebody comes into your business from wherever they came from, it could have been a walk-in, it could have been a TI, a telephone inquiry, it could have been somebody from Facebook that found you or from Google that found you. If you're not taking that information and placing it somewhere, and then you have a system to follow them along their customer journey, then you really don't have a business in the first place. You're managing this stuff, and somebody's going to drop the ball along the way. So this is where it all started for me, was I recognized that as customers are coming in, we need to manage that customer and nurture that customer through the entire process until they finally say, hey, I don't want to talk to you anymore, or I'm not interested in your service or your product. And this is very common in the e-commerce industry, right? You see this a lot in e-commerce, where you go through a funnel, and then that funnel takes you through multiple steps. You get a bunch of emails, a bunch of text messages until either you unsubscribe, opt out, or you're just no longer interested in their service. So the same thing happens in your business. But a lot of times as a gym owner, we're a little too busy, or we find ourselves a little too busy to be doing every component within our business, right? Doing every job within our business. And it's real easy to find ourselves doing the easy things, or the things that don't require a lot of our time and attention, that are heavier lifting items. right? Like production and sales and marketing. And we find ourselves doing the things that we can tackle right away that we know we're going to see an instant result from. We like instant gratification, and that's where that comes from, right? You can go in, clean the toilet, you know it's done. As soon as the bathroom is clean, you know it's finished. If you go change the music because someone's complaining, you know that's finished. If someone's upset about something, you know you can have that conversation and take care of that customer, you know that's finished. But when it comes to growing the business, putting a full strategy together and putting together a full plan, if you start looking at too many things, right, it's like walking through a forest and trying to find the path when it's completely covered. So my recommendation is just start with this very one thing, okay? Because this will help you create that workflow. First of all, download the resource that I have in this podcast. You can get it on YouTube. There's going to be a link there, or you can get it in the show notes of whatever platform you're listening to this on. But download that resource because that's going to give you kind of a map of your customer journey and kind of what it should look like, whether you're a member-based business or you're a member-based and personal training-based business. And you can modify that so it works for group classes. So first, download that. The second thing is get out an Excel spreadsheet. And I just want you to do this, okay? Set it up so it says new lead. The next one is in progress, okay? These are columns. The next one will be booked appointment. The next one will be showed appointment. And then the final one will be closed appointment, okay? So set that up in your workflow for your Excel spreadsheet with columns, and then just start attaching names to it. Okay, so in the row to the far left, you're going to have name, and then you'll have new lead, and that'll be the process. So that way you can take that person and walk them through that journey. Okay, that's just a good way, a good practice for you to get familiarized with how a CRM really should work. If you're looking to integrate a CRM, this is what BUZOPS does, right? So we help you integrate your CRM. We integrated with GoHighLevel. I think they have a great product. We've integrated with Pipedrive. That was the first product that I started using because Salesforce was just a little bit too robust, had too many features. It was a little clunky, and it was too much for a small business like mine when I was operating it. So in order to hit these events or triggers that happen so that way your customers get the right information at the right time, if they cancel in BUZOPS, then they get the cancellation emails or newsletters or text messages so that way you can keep nurturing them. If they sign up for a membership and they were a new lead at one point, then in BUZOPS, when you sign them up, they get automatically triggered in your CRM so that way they get the right messaging. So that way you can continue to nurture them that way. Okay. And if they didn't show for an appointment, they get that message. If they showed for an appointment, they get the messaging. If they booked an appointment, they get the messaging, right? It's about communication. And more importantly than all of that is the fact that you're top of mind because you're constantly communicating with them, right? They know you're the person or you're the place they might want to go. Now, this is not to say that you just have these systems totally set on automation and it's copy and paste on everything and it's on autopilot, because that kind of devalues and waters down the person that you are or the ethos that you provide or the culture we're going to talk about next that you want your business to be. So make sure that whatever message you're sending out is a message from you, the way that you talk, the way that you live, the way that you breathe, and the way that you believe about your business and about helping them. So that way this has ultimate value for them. Okay. So you can take a reactivation note. Okay. I'm in the links below in this show. You can go ahead and take that. Okay. It's a simple text campaign that you can send out. If you're not connected with BUZOPS, you're not connected to some kind of CRM tool, you can just go into your software solution, whatever you're using today, download all the customers who are not with you today. Okay. Maybe they left for whatever reason, and you can go in there. And my recommendation is download what we have. But more importantly, the biggest thing is you got to ask a question. So you trigger a response from them. Okay. And don't be writing these long-winded text messages. The one that you'll get from me is pretty short. It's just like one question, and it's a statement and a question. Okay. You got these things. Do you want them? Now that's how you approach it, because then they go, well, I don't necessarily want to get rid of what I didn't know that I had. What is that, by the way? So you're going to get these responses from customers, and you can use different types of text messaging apps that exist out there. Probably have to go through an A2P registration, which might take about a week to get that registered. So that way you can actually send out text messages. But you're going to want to do that because you're going to get a response rate. And what I'm seeing already with some of our customers, when we set this up for them, they have customers signing up in droves. Just the other day, I had one of our customers call me and say, hey, I was in a meeting and my phone was lighting up like a Christmas tree. His words, okay? So I think it's really important that you focus on reactivating some people. Once you get them reactivated, you can use those funds to funnel it into an actual strategy for marketing. So even in your slow months, you have a plan on how you're going to execute moving forward. Okay. The next thing is your culture. So I remember when we were, building our first business, fitness management group. And this is just me. I'm a huge believer in the fact that everybody needs a trainer, because I think if you have a coach or a trainer working with you, obviously you're going to see better results. You're going to be more accomplished in the way that you push yourself because you got somebody behind you kind of helping you out, right? I mean, think about it like this. If you've ever played sports and the coach didn't show up for practice, there's a chance that maybe your teammates aren't going to show up for practice. Okay, maybe you're super committed and you'll show up and you'll be there. But even without the rest of the team, it's kind of hard to get done what you need to get done. So I say that because that's my philosophy. That's my belief. I'm a huge believer and a big fan in making sure that same message is also represented throughout the rest of the companies that I've ever worked in or worked for or have been part of. And that's because I want everyone to know my vision and my belief system and my values. Because if they have that same system, guess what? We're probably aligned, right? If you're on a team, a sports team, and you have a belief system that you need to do X, Y, and Z in order to win the games and get to the championship, if you have other teammates that believe that same philosophy, that same vision, and that they have that same core value, guess what? There's a pretty strong chance that if everybody thinks that way, you might actually get to the championship and or win the championship. Okay, so that's the same thing within your business. Okay, whatever it is that you believe, make that your core value, and it can't just be a mission statement. It can't just be something that you post up somewhere. It's written there and everybody can read it, but nobody executes on it. Okay, this was even said by one of the previous, I can't remember the name of the CEO, previous CEO of Pepsi. Okay, big companies that follow that pattern, when they execute on their beliefs, guess what? Good things happen. So I say this to you because it's so critical that your team members are following the same path that you have a belief for. Otherwise, you got everybody rowing the boat in a different direction, and it's real hard to get to shore. So, and you've probably heard that analogy before. So it's when you're going through this process, be you in the way that you want to build your business. And even so much so that when you are who you are and you're trying to have this belief and this vision, and you're putting it out there for everyone to see, you also need to align yourselves with that type of customer, because that goes right back into the marketing campaigns and the strategy that you have. Sometimes you don't want certain customers because they make the whole thing a little bit of a mess. Okay, and that's the same thing with your staff. If you've ever heard having a bad player or a bad seed on your team, okay, can really rotten the rest of them. You don't want that in your team. You don't want that in your members. And so whatever your beliefs and values are, find those same people, find your team, and in another sense, where you probably heard this before, find your tribe. Okay, that's all I got for you today. I hope this was of some value, or at least some of it was something that you felt like you needed to hear and it was worth it to you. But go ahead and download some of those things that we've got here for you. You can get those resources. I know that they're valuable simply because I've used them, and I've actually seen other gym owners take these same resources, use them, and see quick growth in their business. That's all I got for you. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you on the flip side.